Let's bring in Consumer Edge, Head of Insights, Michael Gunter. Michael, it's great to have you. So you guys pour through all the data and the information. What are you seeing with regard to high-end shoppers?
So companies like Walmart, Dollar General, Dollar Tree are seeing an outsized share of their new shoppers. We're talking in the latest fiscal quarter and then continuing into August, coming from high-income shoppers. So this is trade down. It's relative to their overall customer bases, and it could be that even though high-income consumers are performing better and holding up better than lower-income consumers with rising asset prices, they're still looking to manage spending. They're still looking for deals. And it also is an indication that the efforts that these companies have been putting into attracting high-income consumers with expanding assortments might be working.
Right. That has been a story for a few quarters now, I guess, with Walmart. I mentioned the Tapestry interview. They had their investor day. I talked to Joanne Crevoiserat, and I was asking her, you know, these luxury companies, especially in handbags, have raised prices to crazy levels. It's become unaccessible. And maybe one reason Coach is growing double digits is a $600 handbag looks a lot better than, you know, $4,000 handbag.
No, absolutely. I mean, we've seen, among other areas that have seen weakness, luxury has been consistently weak. Now, for several quarters in a row, that doesn't seem to be turning around. And yeah, there's this sort of middle ground as consumers seem to be pushing back on those price increases that have been moving up to a point where they may turn to a different type of company.
I'm thinking about who else benefits from this. TJ Maxx has had a great run.
Absolutely. So off price, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Burlington, resale companies. So we're talking, Savers Value Village, Depop, which is owned by Etsy. That's one of the best performing sectors of the year. It continues, it's accelerating, and actually high-income consumers are actually spending more at resale and increasing their spend more than the rest of the consumer base. So that shows that in addition to, sustainability, high-income shoppers are looking there for deals. They like the thrill of the hunt, and they're just looking for ways to stretch their dollar further.
What about low-income consumers? What do you see in the data there?
Yeah, I mean, they are not holding up as well. That's sort of like a story that we've seen a lot of commentary on from a bunch of these retailers. I think, one of the concerns is going to be if this high-income consumer engine that's been powering consumer spending starts to falter, then that starts to become an issue. And we've seen them pull back on more discretionary items, travel, like airlines, lodging, full-service restaurants. So we'll have to see if that actually, plays out in a negative way for the rest of the year.
I do wonder if this is why we're just not seeing as much inflation as expected with regard to the tariffs, and that is it's a tough environment if you're a retailer to pass on these price increases.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we monitor pricing very carefully, across the board, but also at places like Walmart and Target specifically. And there's been weeks when pricing is moving up a little bit, but it's sort of been range-bound. They haven't really passed along price increases outside of some specific categories. It's not been broad-based yet, and it's benefiting consumer spending overall. But we'll see if that really continues to hold as inventories whittle down and they have to manage
even
margin.
With some increases in prices that we've seen across the goods sector, apparel really hasn't. It doesn't feel like it's seen it.
Yeah, you've seen it here and there. I mean, when you think about fast fashion in particular. After the de minimis exemption was removed, Shein raised prices. They actually didn't really suffer too much in terms of fast fashion market share after they raised prices. So it seems like those were successful and consumers absorbed them.
So net, how is spending overall, given some of these trends that you
Spending's
just
holding
about?
up relatively well. I would say better than feared. As I said, there's there's categories that are performing well. That are more
in other words,
affordable.
How much overall spending is driven by a low-income consumer? Not spending by.
No. I mean, the high-income consumer is much more important to this.
Right?
Yeah, they've been carrying it. That's why we're so focused on what are they doing and what might that indicate about how they're going to behave in the holiday season. Because if they buckle, that's an issue for the entire retail landscape.
So holiday winners, resale, big box.
Resale,
Walmart.
big box, off-price retail. If trends continue now, then they'll certainly benefit into the holiday season.